Good afternoon, class. How are y'all doing today? Great, great. I just want to really quickly go over some of the things that we learned in our last lesson. Last lesson we learned about concentric and eccentric motions and how it pertains to muscle endurance. So as we said, remember it was 2 seconds up for concentric if we're doing bicep curls and 4 seconds down for eccentric. And with our endurance, we're working on 12 to 15 repetitions, 2 to 3 sets, with 1 rest day in between. Very quickly, if we can, what is our arm muscle? It's our bicep. Behind is our tricep. In our backs, we have our latissimus dorsi. We have our hamstrings. We have our core, which is our abdominals. So for today's lesson, I want to go over 3 different types of sets that we can work on. First is a compound set. The second is a drop set, and the third is an antagonistic superset. So first, if we can get into what a compound set is, it's an exercise that works on one muscle group, but it's usually 2 sets of consecutive separate workouts with little to no rest. Today we're going to be working on our triceps, and we're going to see how that can pan out as a compound set. Alright guys, so first I'm going to do a demonstration. The 2 exercises that I'm going to be doing for my triceps is a dip and a skull crusher. So I'm going to show you guys how to do this. One of the great things of why I'm choosing dip and the skull crusher is because you don't need a spotter. You can do this at home and it's pretty accessible. There aren't really much equipment that you need to use. You don't necessarily have to use weight, and I'll show you what I mean by that, and I'll show you some do's and don'ts when doing these exercises. And always we want to make sure that our core is properly engaged at all times. Okay, so for the dip, we want to make sure that we have a decline for our body. My feet are on the floor. You can keep your feet straight like so. What you don't want to do is have your feet all the way out, that you're sitting on your heels. You don't want to have your body at an incline, or you don't want to have your legs above your head. So what we want to do here is go straight down, stop at the right angle. You don't want to go all the way down because then we're not exercising proper joint safety. And so we'll show you how this looks. And you don't need a spotter, so this is really great to do. You could do it on your steps. You could do it on a bench. You could do it on a park bench if you're in the park. So let's take a look. Okay, now a little to no rest. We're gonna get on here, and I'm gonna start doing the skull crushers. Again, guys, I'm using a bar, so I don't want to hit the wall. Narrow grip, feet flat on the ground, arms at an angle, 90 degrees, straight up. Okay, so that was 12 and 12. So now really quickly, what I don't want to see is overextensions here. Now we're using the wrong muscle. I don't want to see your legs up in the air, because then you're using different muscles and you can get hurt on a bench. So you want to lay down, you want to keep your arms up, narrowed grip, come down, right about here, and use your forearms to push up. We're not using our shoulders. If we use this motion, we're not using our shoulders. We want to stay still and just use our forearms, which is moving our triceps. Alright guys, so that is our compound set. I want to see you guys get out into groups. We'll have about 10 minutes or so. We'll work on our compound sets, and you don't have to use your triceps. You can use your biceps, triceps, latissimus dorsi, your hamstrings, your quads, your obliques, whatever you want to work on, and then we'll regroup and we'll go on to the next set. Alright guys, So we did really, really great with our compound sets. Just want to quickly go through what the next one is. It's a drop set. So a drop set is kind of what we think it is, where you start to drop weight as we're going through. I'm going to be doing biceps today with a barbell. We saw that in our last class. So I'm going to start off with 10 pounds on each side of the easy bar. And I'm going to drop down to 7.5 pounds and then 5. So what a drop set is a rest pause technique where we're using progressively decreasing resistance after no further repetitions can be performed. So I'm going to be doing the 10 pounds on each side until it's in proper form. Then I'm going to stop. I'm going to decrease my weight. I'm going to continue until I can no longer keep my form. And then I'm going to drop again. So I'm going to show you what this looks like, and then we're going to, as we similarly did, we're going to break out into groups and we will work through our drop sets on our own. Alright guys, so now we're going to work on our barbell curls. As you can see, I have an easy bar here. We have 10 pounds on each side. And really quickly, I'm just going to show you a few things of what not to do. I'm sitting like this so you can see my posture. My arms are pulled back. My body is straight. My core is engaged. So what I don't want you to do is this. We're not moving our shoulders. We're just going one straight motion, up, down, up, down. Okay, and we're going to do this until fatigue, and then I'm going to drop down. So here we go. Alright, so see right here, I moved my arms up a little bit. That's a sign of fatigue and it's improper form. So now we're going to move on to our next weight. Okay, so we're at about 7.5 pounds. Same form. And it's really important to remember that we want our legs to be shoulder width apart. We want our core engaged the entire time. We want to make sure that we are breathing properly. Okay. So my body's starting to move. I'm going to drop down now to the 5-pound weights. All right. Here we go. And you guys can do this with water jugs or any other household item. And you can, just loosen the weight. It doesn't have to be exactly perfect if you're at home. You can use a jug of milk and go down to a water bottle. There's a couple of good household items that you can use. It's really just a great way to stay active. And again, this does not require a spotter, because you could just do it this way. Another great thing you can do is get a broomstick and put some grocery bags on there. That could be a really great workout. And you could also help mom and dad bring in the groceries. Alright guys, so again, just like the compound sets, for the drop sets, I want you to work out whichever muscle group you would prefer to work out. And write down on your worksheet, drop set, and what you're doing. If you have the weight number, if you have that, or if you are using, a water bottle, orange juice, whatever it is, just write that down so we can see it when we do a share out. Alright guys, so now the last set that we're going to be working on is the antagonistic superset. So this is performing antagonistic muscle groups at a superset. Today I'm going to do a leg extension and a leg curl. That's going to work our quadriceps and our hamstrings. And we're just going to challenge general muscle endurance. So we're using one muscle. We're using the front of our leg, and the antagonistic is the back of our leg. So this will give us proper rest when we're exercising for the muscle groups. We'll be able to put forth maximum effort. Alright, so what we're going to be working on here is a leg extension. I am fortunate enough to have a bench that has leg extensions at home. What's really important is to have your proper form. So you want to have our feet behind the comfort grips here, and as you do a leg extension, what's important is our posture. It's always very important. So one, I have my legs behind here, and the cushion is right above my heels. So I want to have proper form, meaning my back is straight, my arms are pulled back. Not pulled all the way back, but in a proper posture motion. My stomach is always engaged, and as I come through with the weight, we extend forward, come down. Extend forward, and we come down. What I don't want to see is this. This is not using proper form. Never want to see this. This is too quick. This is fluttery. This is not a full leg extension. So I want to see up, down, up, down. And I like this because I don't need a spotter. I can do this at home by myself. And there's a whole bunch of other body resistance ways that you could use hamstrings. It does not have to be on a bench. You don't need to be using weight. I believe we saw in the last class how we worked on our hamstrings without using this weight. So I would do about 15 of these on the mat. I'm gonna rest my hamstrings on this one. My heels are gonna be up on this one. And similar to a regular curl, I'm gonna curl that way. Okay. So I'm holding onto the mat, staying straight. My core is engaged. Up, down, up, down, up, down. Okay, so what I don't want to see from you guys is this. This is not a full curl, so we don't want to see that. You guys can get hurt. And again, this is one of those workouts that you don't need a spotter for, so that's really great to do. And again, you don't need a workout bench to be able to perform this. You just have to check out a new quadricep workout for you guys, and we're gonna break out into our group shortly, and I'm really excited to see what we can come up with. There's always lunges that you can do, and you could actually simulate this exact thing with resistance bands at home. You don't need a spotter, but you do need to make sure that the resistance bands don't come back and hit you. So just be cognizant of what you are putting your resistance band on. We're gonna break out into our groups similarly to our drop set and our compound set. I wanna see what muscle group you worked on, how many sets you did, and what you actually did. So we'll break out, and in a few minutes we'll come back and we will share out what our papers look like for all 3 sets. All right, class, great job today. Very quickly, wanted to recoup. We went over compound sets, drop sets, and antagonistic supersets. We'll share out what our workouts were for the day. And at the end, just give me your papers so that I have these for record. And we'll go over everything in our next class so we can see how we all did. If anyone has any specific questions, please feel free to ask me. You can stop me at any time. Have a great day.